Are you an aspiring business owner who struggle to put yourself out there, connect with others, and to grow a business? If you answer yes to those questions, this video is just for you because we're going to talk about how one decision can change everything. And when I say everything, I'm talking about everything. What's going on, family? My name is Terrell Humphrey. Welcome to the Phase Knowledge Podcast. Over the last half a decade, we produced over 893 podcast episodes while helping 30 entrepreneurs launch their podcast in a short span of time, in less than 5 minutes, less than 90 minutes. One thing that we have learned is that every day you have to decide to work on your goals, to work on your dreams, to work on your business. When you do this, one decision changes everything. So we're going to go ahead and get into it. So point number one decision changes everything. Point number one is that you have to decide something. You have to decide something. Okay, what does that mean? There's a terminology called, I learned this a couple months ago, and it's called decision fatigue, which means that when there's a lot of decisions to make, you get tired to make them. Like, for instance, if you have option A, you have option B, you have option C. Let's continue. Then you have option D, then you have option E, then you have option F, A, B, C, D, E, F. You see, these are 6 options. Whatever the options are, it's a lot. And when you have too many options, people get tired to make the decision. It's like, well, you want me to choose from 6 different things. Well, quite honestly, I don't even know the first thing that I want, let's alone the second thing. But you want me to decide, 6 different steps or 6 different things to apply, to choose from. As I start learning more about marketing, as I start learning more about business and communicating and sales, all these different things, I was like, okay, what's the one thing that will help people take the next step? See, every decision, one decision changes everything because you're able to decide. You're able to make a decision and you're able to choose a path. You see, there are 6 different options that's on the screen right now. A, B, C, D, E, F. That is a lot of options. When I start learning more about business and understanding the business that I wanted to focus on, at first I had FIK. FIK is failures knowledge for those of you that are new. And then when I started learning more about business, I thought I needed to change my business or change my logo. So I changed it. So it was a globe. This is the globe. Let's say GLOBE. Globe, I think that's how you spell it. And that globe consisted of, let's say, Facebook. Okay, let's say Instagram. Hold on. Instagram. Insta. All right, let's say LinkedIn. LINK. LinkedIn. Let's say YouTube. TUBE. Okay, let's just stop at 4. Now let's go to 6 since I was doing 6. Okay. Hold on. TikTok. All right, and then let's say what's another one? X. Let's say X. Okay. The new logo that I had, it was extremely busy. What does that mean? It was too many different things on this business card. And when I gave the business card out, I don't even know if people remember what it consisted of. However, when I start working with my mentors and they start talking to me, they said, Terrell, that's a lot. Hold on. That's a lot. And I'm like, a lot of what? I don't understand what you mean. They say that's a lot to choose from. That's a lot to understand. That is a lot. You gotta keep it simple. You gotta keep it narrow. Not only narrow, but you gotta position it to where it's not that many decisions to be made. When people start working with you, why are they working with you? You gotta keep it simple. There's a book, an acronym that I learned in Rich Dad Poor Dad, and it talks about KISS. KISS. KISS, and it say keep it simple, silly. Some say stupid, some say silly, some say whatever. I'm gonna say silly. Why this is important is because when you decide what you are going to do, not only for your business, but for yourself, one decision changes everything instead of making 6 decisions and you getting tired of decisions that you are making. You see, decision fatigue is a real thing because if you have too many decisions to decide from, how are you going to grow your business? How are you going to market your business? How are you going to gain that trust? You see, it's not just the fact that you're making a decision, it's that you're making a decision with intention behind it. When you have intent behind your decision changes everything. When you decide for your business, when you decide for yourself, when you decide one solution, you can literally work towards that problem. See, it's not just the fact that one solution is not important. More than anything, is important because you understanding what you're doing, why you're doing it, and how you go about doing it. So instead of me focusing on other social media platforms, I'm like, okay, what am I good at? What have I been focused on the last couple of years? And it was podcasting. Podcasting was the tool, was the marketing, was the trust builder that I was emphasizing on. And when I start to understand that it's not just about the emphasis, it's more so of the impact, it's more so of the trust, it's more so of the conversation. The relationship starts when I had one decision to make. I had one decision to make, and that one decision changed everything because I'm no longer worried. Yes, I use all the platforms, but what do I want to be known for? What do I want to be remembered as? What do I want others to say, hey, this is the guy that does X, Y, and Z? It's all around podcasting. 893 podcast episodes later, it was around podcasting. It was around producing content. It was around building trust. We help established business owners build trust through podcasting. Why? So your customers can start to learn the problem that you solve, the customers that you're working with, and the solutions that you presented. We actually worked with a client the other day, and when we worked with this client, we was actually educating them about podcasting and how podcasting can build trust. It can help you stand out. It can build authority, all these different things. As we are helping this client, as we are communicating with this client, as we are educating this client, we're educating this client around one thing, and that is the podcast. One decision changes everything because everything comes from one decision. You cannot do everything. In fact, I try to do everything. I try to do real estate wholesaling. I try to do surplus funds. Surplus funds is when you actually, it's like tax collected. I don't know how to explain it because like I bought the course and I just stopped using it. Actually, in all actuality, I spent $1,997 on a course I didn't use. So instead of me getting that refund back, in fact, it was a line of credit that I used to purchase it. Instead of me getting a refund because I wasn't going to use it, I paid that. When I paid that, one decision changed everything. What was the decision? That decision was to say that I'm going to do this. However, that wasn't the only decision that I was making during that time. I had multiple different decisions that I was making, and it was taking my time and energy away from everything that I needed to do. When I started to do that, I didn't see no results. I didn't see nothing come. I didn't see nothing happen. I didn't see anything come from that. What I did notice is that I had too many decisions to make. I had too many options. I had too many moments or too many opportunities, and I didn't say no to anything. And so over time, as I start doing it and start doing more of it, it was like, well, why am I not able to see no results? Because I got too many decisions to choose from. This right here are too many decisions to choose from. Decision fatigue is when you have so many different things going on and you can't decide to focus on the one. You see, that one matters because if you're going to be in business, if you're starting a business, you can't be everything. You got to be something. When I became the podcast guy, the podcast strategist, I became the go-to person around what I'm doing. It's not the fact that podcast is not important. No. Podcasting creates results. Hold on. Podcasting creates trust. Okay? Trust equals continued conversation. Okay? Conversation. Okay? Continued conversation equals presentations. Okay? Presentations. It's not the fact that the presentation is not important. It's more so when you have less decisions to make, you're able to act on decisions a lot faster. You're able to act on the decision for your business a lot faster. I'll give you a prime example. So there's multiple different ways to market your business effectively. If you don't market your business, of course, new people ain't gonna learn more about you. You can't be in business because nobody know nothing about you. Nonetheless, when you start to position yourself differently, you start to understand that you are working towards something. In fact, I just thought of something. Okay. I gotta write that down because I gotta implement that. So I tell you what I just thought about. I have a brochure, and this brochure has 3 slides, and it has what it has on there, then it has a QR code. Okay, and the one decision is a call to action. I don't need to have a lot of call to actions. I don't need to have my clients or future customers make multiple different decisions. I need them to make one decision. I want to continue the conversation with you. That's it. If you are launching your podcast and you get stopped, I want to continue the conversation so we can learn about your challenges, your what's stopping you, what you are learning from, what you can improve on. Why? Because if you learn how to understand what you are doing, you can literally be in a better position. And when you have one decision to make, you can make the decision effectively. In fact, I think Jeff Bezos said this in an interview that I watched a long time ago. He was like, the job of a CEO, the person that's in charge, is to make decisions. When you make decisions for your company, you're making decisions that will be beneficial for your company. And I thought about it. I was like, how is that possible? Your only job is to make decisions. Your job is not to satisfy the customer needs. Your job is not to satisfy, but your job is to focus on decisions. If you make the right decision, your business will grow. If you make the wrong decision, your business won't grow. When I start really doubling down on podcasting, I was like, okay, instead of me saying I'm going live, I'm gonna say I'm about to go grow my business. I'm about to go market myself. I'm about to go put myself out there, because if I'm not putting myself out there, how can people find me? If I'm not making that one decision, not just around marketing and podcasting, building trust, no, marketing, podcasting builds the relationship, starts the trust, and it continues the conversation. Now everything is starting to make sense to me now, because marketing, hold on. Let me fix this. Marketing is a trust factor. Marketing is a trust factor. There's this show that my wife and I be watching, and shout out to my wife because she got me watching the show. Nonetheless, as I'm watching this show, the show is called Love Island. Okay, this show is a show, okay? It's a reality show. What I'm watching is entertaining. It's okay. There's however you want to describe it. Nonetheless, this show, Love Island, is a reality show. Okay? This show airs, it get produced, it gets recorded, gets released, so on and so forth, or so on and so forth. Okay. The people who are on the show, let's say this is the camera, and then let's say these are the people, right? Of course, they got more cameras than just one. Yeah, more cameras than just one. Hold on. Let's say what is it called? Islanders. I think they're called Islanders. Islanders. I think they're called Islanders. It's people who participate in the show and they there for however long they're there. However, these people are doing the show. I was actually talking to my brothers yesterday, Real and Reedy, and shout out to them. I'm talking to them, and it just hit me. I'm like, wait, hold on. That makes sense. The people who are on reality shows are on reality shows, okay? The company that's behind the production are the ones that's promoting it, are the ones that's marketing it, are the ones that's publishing it, are the ones that's posting it, are the ones that's keeping it top of mind. Okay. When I start to see the difference between it, I'm like, There's a section that they're showing where the people who's leaving, they leave and then they keep recording after they leave the villa. And once they leave the villa, they get their phones. They get their phones, right? Oh, that's not a phone right there. Hold on. They get their phones. Okay. They get their phones. This is called phone. They get their phone after being gone for X amount of time. And in this time frame, they open up their phone. Let's just say somebody has 0 followers. Okay. Then they leave. Let's just say they have, somebody actually said this, 90K followers. Okay. Why is that important? The show builds trust, but the way that they promote, market, and put them out there, more people learn more about them. So then I'm like, okay, hold on. How can I apply that same method to my business? How can I make one decision to increase the trust, to increase the awareness, to increase the amount of people who know who I am? As I start to recognize that, I said, oh, that's the cheat code. Yes, reality show, but it's working with the organization that can promote you effectively. But it's not just about the company. It's literally about what are you going to do after that. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, I don't have a corporation behind me, which is absolutely fine. However, I do have the business understanding. I do have the system. If I'm able to do more of what I'm doing, more people will know who I am. One decision says do more content. One decision say post more content. One decision say stay consistent. Because it's not just about creating the podcast episodes. No, it's about gaining trust in different areas where people can start to learn more about you. When they learn more about you, they want to continue the conversation. It's the conversation that people look forward to because one decision changes everything. Okay. Let's go to point number 2. One decision changes everything. Why? It's what comes from that. What, not necessarily what comes from that, what builds from that. Hold on. Point number 2, one decision builds. In other words, let's keep it simple. One decision grows. I just gave this great example without even knowing I gave the example. Okay, earlier I talked about how the people who are on this show, the reality show Love Island, they go there with a small following, and then when they leave, they have a larger following. It's not just about the followers or the number of followers who know them. It's about the amount of influence that they gain while being on this show. So I'm like, if they can do it, I can do it too. But here's what happens from that. Growth happens, opportunities happens, and what is it called? Momentum happens. Shout out to my dog Bill. He said momentum builds momentum. You cannot have momentum if you're not really working towards something. There was a previous Love Islander, and she's been everywhere. She's been on different commercials, different interviews, whatever the case is. I saw an interview with her. I sent it to my wife. And when I saw the interview, she was communicating. I don't know how to spell her name. She was communicating. Interview. Let's say previous contestant. Okay, let's just say as I was doing the interview, this previous contestant who was on Love Island is seen everywhere. So in my mind, I'm like, how is that possible? How are you able to go from this reality show to doing interviews, to being on commercials, to doing all these different things? Oh, okay. Goes to the point. Okay, one decision grows. Her getting onto this reality show grew opportunities, grew her business, grew her income. In addition to that, it grew her influence. So it's kind of like you got this tree over here, right? Hold on. You got this tree over here, and what happens is that you got an apple that falls. Hold on. That's a horrible example. Hold on. Before you get the tree, hold on. I want to use a different example. I actually like to use this example. So you got this seed right here. This is called a seed. And this right here is called the dirt. Put some more dirt in it, okay? Put some more dirt in that joint. Hold on. Seed. All right, this is called dirt. Underneath it, okay, you got the roots. But we gonna call that opportunity. Okay. You got this opportunity. So when you plant this seed, let me make sure to say seed. Hold on. Let me make sure to say seed. All right. When you got this seed, you put it into dirt, you cover it, you water, you take care of it. Okay, the dirt, hold on. The dirt equals foundation. Hold on. The dirt equals foundation. Okay, what does that mean? You gotta build yourself. You gotta work towards something. You gotta understand as you are learning more about your business, as you are learning more about the opportunities, sometimes what's happening is that you're developing yourself when nobody's seeing you. You gotta develop yourself. You gotta create opportunities. You gotta be in a different position so you can start creating opportunities. The opportunities might look like they are not important. You putting yourself out there might not seem like it's good. You getting onto a reality show might not seem like it's bad. You launching a podcast might not seem like that there's benefit from it. However, when you plant this seed, in other words, when you start, when you start from your decision grows. As your opportunity, as your seed grows, let's take it a little bit deeper. Here's what happens: is that what comes from the dirt, you start to see the roots, not the roots, but you're reaping your success. It might not be as many as you would like, but it's some. See, planting the seed is where you start. You gotta make the decision to start working towards your business, to start working your goals, to start working towards opportunity. You don't know where the opportunity is going to come from until you plant this seed, until you start, until you open the door. Opportunities only come to those who are willing to step outside of the door. Hold on. You see, it's not just about the seed that's important. You got to plant this seed. You got to take care of the seed. Take care of it. You got to watch it. Watch it. Wow. Because one decision changes everything. Check this out. But before everything gets changed, you got to be okay with nothing changing. Hold on. Let's talk to him. It's not the fact that it's not changing. You just got to give it time for it to develop. You got to give it time for it to flourish. You got to give it time for you to understand. What are you giving time to? Your skills. What are you giving time to? Your business. What are you giving time to? Your direction. You see, a half a decade ago, I had no direction. But I started with a short tripod, 3 books underneath it, took the phone down, and I still was not even in the camera, but I tilted the camera up and I started recording content. That decision changed everything because that decision forced me to grow. That decision forced me to learn. That decision gave me the skills that I needed to be comfortable on camera. Let's talk about business. Let's market myself effectively. Okay. Let's learn how to communicate, learn how to connect with others, learn how to continue the relationship. You see, content ain't supposed to make you money right now. I'll be honest with you. The content is supposed to build trust and continue the conversation. Everything that happens after that is now you got to develop level of understanding, where you communicate, where you ask, and so on and so forth. That's what I'm developing now. That's what I'm working towards now. Nonetheless, this seed is where it starts. Hold on. One decision grows because now this seed turns into a tree. Turns into foundation. So when an apple falls, you got a lot more in the tree that will help you be better positioned. You see, this apple might be a failure. This apple might be a discouragement. This apple that failed might not be the opportunity that you needed. However, when you start to recognize what good opportunity looks like, you start to make the decision faster. You got to make that decision faster. In fact, you got to make a decision. You can't have too many options. You can't have too many decisions. But if you have one decision that you focus on, that you improve, that you perfect, let's talk about the business. Now let's flip it to the business. If you have one business, one type of customer, one solution that you can focus on as you are starting out, as you are focused on it, you will be able to stand out even more. Hold on. One decision grows because this one decision can be impactful. It can multiply. It can build relationships. It can connect. But before it does any of that, one decision has to start before anything starts. One decision changes everything. But before everything gets changed, one decision has to be made. Before everything changes, one decision has to be made. In the reality show Love Island, there was a islander. His name was Corbin. He said his name was Corbin. He said he just picked up his phone in September. In September of last year, started recording content. A couple months later, look where he is at. And I said, that's it. That's the journey. That's the journey. That's the opportunity. That's where it come from. You're not just picking up your phone to record yourself. You're picking up your phone to learn how to share your story, how to connect with others, how to build value. And then eventually people start to say, I like this person has helped, XYZ. But you gotta be okay with nobody watching. You gotta be okay with nobody commenting. You gotta be okay with not having the business that you would like to achieve. I gotta be okay with starting where I'm at and understanding that it takes time. I'm not looking for instant success. I'm working towards a success that will last a lifetime. When I understand that that's what I'm working towards, a lifetime is the goal. A lifetime is the purpose. A lifetime is the mission. A lifetime is the focus. Why? Because 0 views doesn't mean nobody's watching. Okay, hold on. In fact, I give you some real numbers right now. I got 0 that's on the live right now. I got 1 person on TikTok. I got no people on Instagram. But I tell you this, they don't have to join today. They just have to know that I'm going to be consistent, because when people start to come in, I've been consistent this whole time. Oh, hold on. Point number 3 is to be consistent. One decision changes everything, but before it changes, you got to be able to make a decision. You got to be okay with showing up when the moments are bad. There's a terminology. Shout out to my dog E, was talking about it yesterday. There's a thing called peaks and valleys. Peaks are good, valleys are good. I mean, peaks are bad, valleys are good, if I'm not mistaken. But you got up, you got down. You got up, then it's down. You got up, then it's down, then you got up. One decision changes everything. But you gotta be okay when the moments are unclear, when the days are overwhelming, when the moments are not good. Well, I give you a prime example. When, as I'm like really like understanding more about what I'm doing, and I'm communicating with different people, and I'm talking, I'm not making any sales right now. Well, I've made some sales, but it's like, dang, like I want to make more, but I just gotta trust the process. I gotta trust that everything that I'm doing is paying off. And when they are ready, I want to be there when they are ready. Why? Because I want to stay top of mind. In business, you can't make sales today. And what I've learned is that you get results later on. Like I'm still trying to figure out how to explain it, but you get results later on, which means you gotta take enough action today. Like it might seem confusing, like why can't you get instant results? Well, with me, I'm like, all right, cool. Why is it taking so long? It's taking so long because I'm not reaching out to a lot of people. What's taking so long is that I recently start tracking who I'm reaching out to and communicating in that way, so I can stay organized. And the day that you stop marketing is the day that people stop learning more about your business. So it's like, okay. Today is what? July 12th. July 12th. People might reach out to me July, August, September, October 12th. 3 months from today. They might reach out 3 months from today because of today. Not because of I wasn't reaching out to them throughout 3 months. It's more so of, well, I'll stay top of mind. When you're ready, we are here. Sales, what I've learned when you have your own business, sales, marketing, communication, sales, leadership, all these different things, they all based upon making one decision. But you have to make a decision every single day. So 3 months from now, somebody can say, I watched your recent podcast about X, Y, and Z, and I liked how X, Y, and Z did da, 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 da. But it's giving me a different perspective. The perspective that is giving me is that something's working. Something is working. What's working is that I'm showing up. What's working is that I'm following up. What's working is that I'm communicating. What's working is that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. As I'm doing more, and when I start bringing team members in, when I start working with others, well, this is what has been proven. This is what you got to do. There's a shout out to the 10X movement, the 10X Campione. I just saw your name. And what they talk about is that you have to follow up. 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 I wasn't always good at following up, but then when I recognized that there's something here that's good, I got to be okay with it. Hold on, I got to be okay with like following up, people not responding, people not getting back to me, and they say, assume nobody saw something, and I'm like, what does that mean? Assume nobody saw anything. When they explained it, they said if you are going to be in business, you gotta be okay with like staying top of mind. You might seem like you're bothering people, but sales, marketing, communicating is not bothering people. You're just meeting people where they're at. And if you're not meeting people where they're at, people will forget you. When you're consistently showing up, when you're consistently reaching out, when you're consistently creating content, you might not have overnight fame. But you might have over time process that you can implement every day. Every day is the goal. Every day is the focus. Every day is the opportunity. Why? Every day you have a new chance to connect with new customers. There's a book called There's a Customer Born Every Minute. There's a customer born every minute. There's a customer born every minute, which means there's new people come and encounter with you consistently. But if you don't show up, if you're not consistent, people can't connect with you because you stop showing up. And it took me so long to recognize that, because it's not just about how one decision changes everything. It's the way you make this decision every single day and you work towards that goal. Oh, man. It might be about podcasting, but it's about building trust. It's about staying consistent, about staying relevant, about staying top of mind. Because now when people want to continue that conversation, they know who to reach out to. If you're going to be in business, you have to be top of mind with everything that you're doing. And everything that you're doing will eventually pay off. But as it's paying off, it comes from one decision. That one decision grows because that one decision is the focus. My one decision is to focus on podcasting so we can grow our business. It's not about making sales today. It's about positioning ourselves as the authority. So when they're a new established business owner who want to build trust through podcasting so that customers can learn more about their business, reach out to us. We know how to help them because they've been seeing the results. They've been seeing the impact. They've been seeing the outcome. You see, one decision changes everything because it forces you to remain focused. As you remain focused, you start to see opportunities. The opportunities that will come only are presented based off one decision. So just to recap everything that we talked about today, which was actually pretty good. Point number one is that you have to decide something. If you have too many decisions to make, you're not going to make any. But if you have 2 to 3 decisions, you will make a lot more decisions. So, or if you have 1 to 2 decisions to make, you have a lot more decisions. Point number 2, it grows. One decision grows, it multiplies, it amplifies, it increases, but you have to decide on the one thing so it can grow, so that one decision can grow into a foundation. Your foundation only comes from that one decision. Last one that we talked about was that you got to be consistent. It's hard. Being an entrepreneur, having your own business is challenging, but that doesn't mean that it's impossible. What it means is that you just got to do it every single day. If you're an established business owner who struggle to build trust with your customers, who struggle to continue the conversation with customers, who struggle to stay top of mind with your customers, shoot us an email at Terrell at Failure is Knowledge, TERRYL at failureisnknowledge.com, and or just read it in the description below. So that way all you gotta do is just copy and paste and send us an email. Make sure you hit that follow, hit that subscribe. Lastly, don't be afraid to fail, because failure is knowledge.